Over 60? Never take magnesium glycinate with vitamin D3 and K2. Before watching this, if you're over 60 and taking magnesium glycinate, vitamin D3 and K2 altogether, especially at night before bed, what I'm about to share could explain why you're still waking up exhausted, why your legs cramp in the middle of the night, and why despite doing everything right, you feel like your body is working against you. This isn't about the supplements being wrong. It's about something almost nobody talks about, something that changes everything after 60, and something your doctor probably never mentioned when they told you to take these nutrients. The problem is timing, and the consequences of getting it wrong go far deeper than most people realize. Here's what's happening in bodies across America right now. Millions of older adults are taking these three essential nutrients: vitamin D for bones, K2 for arteries, magnesium for sleep, and they're combining them in ways that create internal chaos. One nutrient is telling your body to wake up, another is trying to calm you down, and the third can't do its job because the other two are fighting for the same absorption pathways. The result? Your calcium doesn't go where it belongs. Your muscles stay tense when they should relax. Your sleep becomes fragmented. And over time, the very supplements meant to protect you may be working at half strength or less. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why this happens, what your body is actually trying to tell you, and the simple morning-evening separation that changes everything. If you've been taking all three together and wondering why you're not feeling the results you expected, stay with me. This could be the missing piece you've been searching for. Thomas, 67, from Tampa. Thomas did everything by the book. Every night before bed, he lined up his three supplements: vitamin D, 5,000 IU, vitamin K, 100 micrograms, magnesium glycinate, 400 milligrams, and took them all at once with a glass of water. His doctor had recommended vitamin D for his bones. He'd read about K2 protecting his arteries, and his wife suggested magnesium after he complained about leg cramps keeping him awake. For 8 months, Thomas stayed consistent. He never missed a night. But instead of feeling better, he noticed something strange. His sleep became lighter. He'd fall asleep fine, but wake up at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., sometimes 4 or 5 times a night. His calves would cramp so badly he'd have to stand up and walk it off. During the day, he felt wired but exhausted at the same time, like his body couldn't settle. His blood pressure, which had been stable for years, started creeping upward. And perhaps most frustrating of all, a recent bone density scan showed minimal improvement despite months of faithful supplementation. Thomas started to wonder if the supplements even worked. Maybe they were a waste of money. Maybe his body just couldn't respond anymore. But the real problem wasn't the supplements themselves. It was that his body was receiving 3 conflicting signals at the exact same moment every single night. And after 60, that kind of internal conflict doesn't just reduce effectiveness, it creates strain. Here's what most people don't realize until it's too late. After 60, your body loses its ability to compensate for these kinds of mistakes. When you were 40, maybe even 50, you could take supplements randomly, combine them however you wanted, and your body would sort it out. Your digestive system was more resilient. Your nervous system could handle mixed signals. Your kidneys and liver processed everything efficiently. But after 60, everything changes. Your stomach produces less acid, which means absorption slows down. Your kidneys convert nutrients less efficiently. Your nervous system becomes more reactive to stimulation and more dependent on clear signals to relax. The margin for error shrinks dramatically. What once caused no noticeable problem now quietly undermines your health day after day, week after week, month after month. And here's the part that concerns me most. When calcium isn't properly directed, when magnesium can't fully relax your muscles, when vitamin D stimulates your system at the wrong time, the effects compound. Poor sleep leads to increased inflammation. Inflammation affects blood pressure and blood sugar. Tight muscles increase fall risk. Misdirected calcium can gradually accumulate in arteries instead of bones. None of this happens overnight, but over months and years. These small inefficiencies create real consequences. And the tragedy is that people blame aging or bad genetics when the real issue is simply that their carefully chosen supplements are working against each other. But here's what gives me hope, and this is something the supplement industry doesn't want you thinking about too carefully. The solution isn't buying more expensive brands. It's not adding more nutrients to your routine. It's not even increasing your doses. The solution is understanding something that completely changes the game. After 60, timing matters more than dosage. Think about that for a moment. You could be taking the perfect supplements at the perfect doses, but if you're taking them at the wrong time of day or in the wrong combinations, you're getting a fraction of the benefit. This is what I call the nutrient timing reset. And once you understand how to separate these three supplements properly, morning versus evening, stimulating versus calming, you give your body what it's been desperately asking for all along. Clear signals, no competition, no confusion. Most doctors don't talk about this because frankly they're not trained in it. Medical school teaches diseases and drugs. Nutritional timing, that's not on the exam. The supplement industry doesn't emphasize it either because it's more profitable to sell you more products than to teach you how to use the ones you already have more effectively. But the research is clear. When these nutrients are separated properly, absorption improves, side effects decrease, and the benefits multiply. Let's start with vitamin D3 because this is where most of the confusion begins, and it's where the biggest timing mistake happens. Vitamin D3 is often called the sunshine vitamin, and there's a reason for that label. It doesn't just support bones. After 60, vitamin D3 acts like a hormone. It influences calcium absorption, yes, but it also affects energy metabolism, immune function, inflammation control, and critically your circadian rhythm. Here's what research published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism has shown. Vitamin D3 has mild stimulating properties. It signals alertness. It activates metabolic pathways. When your skin produces vitamin D from sunlight, that happens during the day when you're meant to be active. Your body expects vitamin D signals during waking hours, not at night. When you take vitamin D3 in the evening, especially close to bedtime, you're essentially sending your body a wake-up signal at the exact moment you're trying to wind down. Now, this doesn't feel like drinking coffee. You don't feel jittery or wired in an obvious way. But what happens is more subtle and more problematic. Vitamin D3 taken at night can interfere with melatonin production. Melatonin is your body's natural sleep hormone, and after 60, you're already producing less of it than you did in your younger years. When vitamin D3 disrupts melatonin even slightly, sleep becomes lighter, more fragmented. You might fall asleep without trouble, but you wake up multiple times during the night. You wake up too early. You never feel deeply rested. And here's the critical part. Vitamin D3's main job is increasing calcium absorption. It pulls calcium from your digestive system into your bloodstream. That's good. That's what you want. But if that calcium isn't immediately guided to where it belongs, if vitamin K2 isn't active at the right moment, if your body is in nighttime repair mode instead of daytime building mode, that calcium starts circulating without clear direction. Over time, this can contribute to what's called soft tissue calcification. Calcium settling in arteries, joints, kidneys, places it absolutely should not be. After 60, this process accelerates if you're not careful. Your body's natural ability to regulate calcium decreases. You need more intentional support, and that support starts with taking vitamin D3 earlier in the day. According to research in diabetes care, morning administration of vitamin D3 aligns with natural cortisol rhythms and supports better metabolic outcomes compared to evening dosing. Vitamin D3 also requires fat to be absorbed properly. It's fat-soluble, which means taking it on an empty stomach or with just water dramatically reduces how much actually enters your bloodstream. You need to take it with a meal that contains healthy fats: eggs, avocado, olive oil, nuts, full-fat dairy, fatty fish. These foods provide the lipid environment vitamin D3 needs to be absorbed and transported effectively. This is what I call the nutrient timing reset principle in action. Right supplement, right time, right conditions. Now let's talk about vitamin K2. the nutrient that almost nobody understands but absolutely everyone over 60 should be taking. Once vitamin D3 has increased calcium in your bloodstream, your body faces a critical question. Where does that calcium go? And this is exactly where vitamin K2 becomes essential. Without it, calcium becomes a wanderer. With it, calcium becomes precisely directed. Vitamin K2 works by activating two specific proteins, osteocalcin and matrix gullo protein. Osteocalcin pulls calcium out of your blood and locks it into bone tissue where it increases density and strength. Matrix GA protein does the opposite job for your arteries. It prevents calcium from depositing in blood vessel walls, keeping your arteries flexible and clear. This dual action, building bones while protecting arteries, is exactly what your body needs after 60. But here's the problem. As you age, your body's natural ability to activate these proteins declines significantly. Research published in Thrombosis and Hemostasis found that vitamin K2 deficiency is widespread in older adults. And this deficiency is directly linked to increased arterial calcification and decreased bone density. Think about that. You can be taking calcium, you can be taking vitamin D3, but without adequate K2, that calcium may be strengthening your arteries instead of your bones. This is called the calcium paradox. Weak bones and stiff arteries at the same time. Both caused by the same problem, calcium in the wrong places. Vitamin K2 is rare in the modern diet. It's found primarily in fermented foods like natto, certain AED cheeses, and animal fats from grass-fed sources. Most Americans, especially those over 60, consume almost none of these foods regularly. And unlike vitamin K, one which is abundant in green vegetables and supports blood clotting, vitamin K2 has this entirely different job of directing calcium. You can eat spinach and kale every day and still be severely deficient in K2. The best supplemental form is MK7, which stays active in your body longer and provides steadier support throughout the day. Most people over 60 benefit from 100 to 200 micrograms daily. And because K2 is also fat-soluble, it needs to be taken with dietary fat for proper absorption, just like vitamin D3. This is why taking them together in the morning with a fat-containing meal makes perfect sense. They work as partners. D3 increases calcium availability. K2 directs where that calcium goes. This is the nutrient timing reset working exactly as it should. Partnership, not competition. But there's one critical safety warning I need to emphasize. If you're taking blood-thinning medications, particularly warfarin or Coumadin, you cannot start vitamin K2 without close medical supervision. Vitamin K affects blood clotting, and adding it while on these medications can interfere with their effectiveness. This is non-negotiable. Talk to your doctor first. Now we come to magnesium, and specifically magnesium glycinate, which is the form I recommend most often for adults over 60. If vitamin D3 is the activator and K2 is the director, magnesium is the relaxer. It's involved in more than 300 enzymatic processes in your body. But the roles that matter most after 60 are muscle relaxation, nerve calming, heart rhythm stabilization, and sleep support. Here's what magnesium does at the cellular level. Every time a muscle contracts, calcium flows into the muscle cell. For that muscle to relax, magnesium pushes the calcium back out. This is true for every muscle in your body, your legs, your heart, your blood vessels, everything. When magnesium levels are low, muscles can't fully release. They stay in a state of partial contraction. This is why magnesium deficiency shows up as nighttime leg cramps, muscle twitches, restless legs, even heart palpitations. Your muscles are stuck in tension mode. According to research in the Journal of Research in Medical Sciences, magnesium supplementation significantly improves sleep quality in older adults, reduces the time it takes to fall asleep, and decreases nighttime awakenings. But here's the key. These benefits only occur when magnesium is taken in the evening when your body is preparing to rest. Magnesium signals your nervous system to shift out of fight or flight mode and into rest and repair mode. It supports the production of GABA, a calming neurotransmitter. It helps regulate melatonin. It tells every system in your body it's safe to slow down. Now, magnesium glycinate is the preferred form because the glycine component amplifies these calming effects. Glycine itself is an inhibitory neurotransmitter, meaning it reduces nerve excitability. When you combine magnesium with glycine, you get a double calming effect. Additionally, magnesium glycinate is gentle on the digestive system. Other forms like magnesium oxide or magnesium citrate can cause loose stools or digestive discomfort, which obviously defeats the purpose if you're trying to improve sleep. For most adults over 60, 200 to 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate taken 30 to 60 minutes before bed is effective. You should start on the lower end and adjust based on how you respond. If you notice any digestive looseness, reduce the dose slightly. Within 1 to 2 weeks of consistent evening use, most people notice fewer muscle cramps, less restlessness at night, and deeper, more restorative sleep. This is the nutrient timing reset, giving magnesium the conditions it needs to work fully. Evening timing, no competition, clear signals. But here's where the major problem occurs. When people take magnesium at the same time as vitamin D3, especially in the evening, two things go wrong. First, magnesium can interfere with how vitamin D3 is absorbed and metabolized. Research in Magnesium Research Journal shows that concurrent intake reduces the conversion of vitamin D into its active form. Second, vitamin D3's stimulating effect works against magnesium's calming effect. Your body receives contradictory signals simultaneously. The result is that neither nutrient works as well as it should. You're spending money on both, taking them faithfully and getting reduced benefit from each. Let me be very direct about the 3 most common mistakes I see that completely undermine results even in people who are trying to do everything right. These aren't small issues. These are the patterns that prevent the nutrient timing reset from working and keep people trapped in frustration. Mistake number 3. Taking all 3 supplements together at night. This is by far the most common error. People do it for convenience. They want one simple routine. Maybe they keep all their supplements in the bathroom and take them before brushing their teeth. But what they don't realize is that they're forcing their body to process competing signals at the exact moment it should be receiving clear direction to rest. Vitamin D3 stimulates. Magnesium calms. K2 tries to direct calcium while absorption is compromised. Everything competes. Nothing works optimally. And over weeks and months, the consequences accumulate. Poor sleep, persistent muscle tension, calcium not reaching bones effectively, vitamin D levels staying low despite supplementation. Mistake number 2. Taking vitamin D3 without fat. I see this constantly. People swallow their vitamin D3 capsule with water, maybe first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, thinking they're being proactive. But vitamin D3 is fat-soluble. Without dietary fat present, absorption drops dramatically. Studies show that taking vitamin D3 with a fat-containing meal can increase absorption by 30 to 50% compared to taking it without fat. That's not a small difference. That's the difference between adequate vitamin D levels and deficiency, between bone protection and bone loss, between immune support and immune vulnerability. The solution is simple. Take vitamin D3 and K2 with breakfast or lunch. Any meal that includes eggs, avocado, olive oil, nuts, or fatty fish. Mistake number 1, not separating magnesium from vitamin D3. Even when people take vitamin D3 earlier in the day, they sometimes take magnesium at the same meal thinking it's fine to combine morning supplements. But as we've discussed, magnesium interferes with vitamin D metabolism when taken simultaneously. The proper approach is vitamin D3 and K2 together in the morning with fat and magnesium alone in the evening before bed. This separation gives each nutrient its optimal absorption window and allows them to work with your body's natural rhythms instead of against them. Consider someone like Patricia, 71, from Austin. Patricia had been taking all 3 supplements together every evening for over a year. She couldn't understand why her vitamin D blood test showed only 26 nanogs per milliliter despite taking 4,000 IU daily. That's barely sufficient. She was also experiencing worsening sleep fragmentation and persistent calf cramps that would wake her up at least twice a night. When we separated her supplements, moving D3 and K2 to morning with breakfast and keeping magnesium at bedtime, her vitamin D level rose to 44 nanograms per milliliter within 3 months on the same dose. Her sleep improved within 2 weeks. Her cramps decreased significantly. Nothing else changed except timing. That's the power of the nutrient timing reset. So let's talk about exactly how to implement the nutrient timing reset properly. This is the protocol that works, the one that respects how your body functions after 60 and gives each nutrient the optimal conditions it needs. Morning protocol, ideally with breakfast or lunch. Take your vitamin D3 and vitamin K2 together. The typical dose for most adults over 60 is 2,000 to 5,000 IU of vitamin D3. Though your specific dose should be determined by your doctor based on your blood levels and 100 to 200 micrograms of vitamin K2 in the MK7 form. These must be taken with a meal that contains healthy fats. This doesn't need to be complicated or excessive. 2 eggs cooked in olive oil provides plenty of fat. Half an avocado on whole grain toast works. A serving of full-fat Greek yogurt with nuts, salmon, or sardines. Any of these provides the lipid environment needed for absorption. Why morning? Because this is when your body is metabolically active. When calcium absorption should happen, when vitamin D3's mild stimulating effect aligns with your natural cortisol rhythm instead of interfering with melatonin. When you take D3 and K2 in the morning, you're supporting bone building, calcium direction, immune function, and cardiovascular protection during the active phase of your day. Everything works together. This is the nutrient timing reset, creating synergy instead of conflict. Evening protocol 30 to 60 minutes before bedtime. Take your magnesium glycinate alone without any other supplements. For most people over 60, 200 to 400 milligrams is effective. You can take it with water, with a light snack, or about an hour after dinner. The key is separation from your morning supplements and timing that allows magnesium to support your body's natural transition into sleep mode. Within 30 to 45 minutes of taking magnesium in the evening, you should notice a subtle shift. Muscles feel less tense. Your mind feels quieter, not sedated, just calmer. When you lie down to sleep, you fall asleep more naturally and your sleep is deeper and less interrupted. Over weeks and months, muscle cramps decrease. Restless leg symptoms improve and morning recovery gets better. This is your body finally receiving the clear signal it needs. No competition, no confusion, just support. One additional consideration, if you're taking calcium supplements, and many people over 60 do, calcium should generally be taken separately from magnesium because they compete for absorption. A reasonable approach is taking calcium with your midday meal if needed, vitamin D3 and K2 with breakfast, and magnesium in the evening. However, before taking calcium supplements at all, discuss with your doctor whether you actually need them. Many older adults get adequate calcium from diet. Dairy, leafy greens, fortified foods, and excessive calcium supplementation without adequate K2 may contribute more to arterial calcification than bone strength. Research in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition supports this concern. Let me share something that might shift how you think about your symptoms. Every uncomfortable sensation you're experiencing, the leg cramps, the fragmented sleep, the internal restlessness, the fatigue despite supplementation, these aren't signs that your body is failing. They're signals. Your body is trying to tell you something. And what it's saying is this: I need clearer direction. I need separation. I need timing that matches my natural rhythms. After 60, your body loses the flexibility to compensate for mixed signals. It can't sort out contradictory instructions the way it could when you were younger. When you give it stimulation and relaxation simultaneously, when you force nutrients to compete for the same absorption pathways, when you ignore the natural timing of circadian rhythms and metabolic cycles, your body responds with symptoms, not because it's broken, but because it's sensitive. And sensitivity in this case is actually wisdom. Your body is telling you exactly what it needs. Most people just don't know how to listen. Your symptoms aren't punishment, they're information. And when you adjust timing to match what your body is asking for, those symptoms often resolve naturally because you've removed the underlying conflict. Now let's talk about something that might frustrate you, but it's important to understand. Why hasn't anyone told you this before? Why didn't your doctor explain nutrient timing when they recommended these supplements? Why don't supplement bottles include timing instructions? And why does it feel like you have to dig for this information when it's clearly so important? Here's the uncomfortable truth. The medical system isn't designed to teach you nutritional optimization. Doctors receive minimal nutrition training in medical school, typically just a few hours over 4 years. They learn about diseases, diagnostics, and pharmaceutical interventions. Nutrient timing. That's not on the exam. It's not part of the standard curriculum. So, when your doctor recommends vitamin D for bone health, they're working from the limited framework they were taught. Take vitamin D. That's where the guidance ends. They're not being negligent. They simply weren't trained in the details that matter after 60. As we come to the end of today's discussion, I want to leave you with absolute clarity about what to do next and why this matters more than you might realize. First, the action steps. Starting tomorrow morning, separate your supplements using the nutrient timing reset protocol. Take vitamin D3 and K2 together with breakfast. Any breakfast that includes healthy fats. Take magnesium glycinate alone in the evening 30 to 60 minutes before you plan to sleep. That's it. Don't overthink it. Don't add new supplements. Don't change doses yet. Just change timing. Give your body 4 weeks to respond. You should notice sleep improvements within the first 2 weeks. Muscle cramps often decrease during weeks 2 through 3. Energy and daytime function typically improve by week 4. Second, pay attention to what your body tells you. If you notice digestive changes, adjust your magnesium dose slightly. If you feel more alert in the mornings after moving D3 earlier, that's confirmation that evening timing was interfering with your system. If your sleep becomes noticeably deeper, you're experiencing the nutrient timing reset working exactly as designed. Your body will give you feedback. Listen to it. Third, consider getting follow-up blood work in 3 to 4 months if you've been supplementing for a while without seeing level improvements. Many people discover that their vitamin D levels rise significantly once they optimize timing and fat intake even on the same dose they were taking before. That's not magic. That's absorption working properly. Now here's what I want you to understand at a deeper level. You are not too old to feel better. You are not beyond improvement. And you are not powerless in this process. After 60, health isn't about doing more, taking more, or trying harder. It's about precision. It's about working with your body's natural rhythms instead of against them. The nutrient timing reset is proof of this principle. Small adjustments, properly timed, create results that force and excess never could. You now know something that most people, including most doctors, will never fully understand. You know that after 60, timing matters as much as dosage. You know that nutrients can compete or cooperate depending on when and how they're taken. You know that your symptoms aren't failures. They're signals asking for better alignment. And you know exactly what to do about it. Thank you for trusting me with your time today. Thank you for being someone who thinks for themselves, who questions, who seeks understanding beyond surface-level advice. You're doing something most people never do. You're taking control. I'm Dr. Johnson Terry. Take care of your body. Give it the clear signals it's asking for. And remember, aging doesn't mean decline is inevitable. With the right knowledge and small, thoughtful adjustments, you can protect your strength, your independence, and your quality of life for years to come. Until next time, stay informed, stay empowered, and keep questioning.